It says the broadcast is live.
The broadcast is live.
I think that means we're live.
I think we are live. We're live.
Hey, are we live?
Hey.
How would you know?
It's Ham Radio Dude with TheSmokinApe and T.O. I actually got all the arrows done right. I'm like, I'm going to point in the wrong direction, and I know that's where he is because he's not over there in real life.
I don't know where I am, to be honest with you.
All right. How you guys doing in the chat? Welcome to the last minute Ape Made Me Do It live stream.
Yeah, I did. I was like, hey, are we doing this or what? But it worked out. It took a while, right? We had to figure it out, get a thumbnail made.
Yeah, last minute I switched over to StreamYard.
Figure out all the audio issues.
Yeah.
What'd you say, dude? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if my audio messes up halfway through the stream. Just if I cut out and I come back in, you'll know why.
Oh, dude's got one of those cool guy on-air lights behind him too, just like me.
Yeah, my dad bought that for Christmas for me. If
That's
you could
awesome.
see it, it says I'm on the air, which we're on the air.
Mine
Cool.
says it too.
Do they generate noise? I think I heard that they do. They RFI.
That's what I've heard.
I haven't seen that be the case. However, I wouldn't doubt it because they are some pretty inexpensive Chinese LEDs, which we know are pretty well notorious for RFI, right?
Right.
What I can do is I could actually go get a AM radio right now and find out for you if you'd like.
Nah, I'm not gonna make you run around. You might slip or burn your hand or something.
Let's see if you can see it. Just a little bit.
Yeah,
Just
a
on the
little
finger there. Man, the spatula was, I guess it was leaning against the metal pan. When I grabbed the spatula to flip whatever I was flipping, boom, got me.
Yeah, I hate when that happens.
I wish you could flip what I'm flipping.
I have not had breakfast yet today.
I've had pretty good luck without getting burned, so I'll take one burn every 38 years. That's cool.
I don't eat breakfast. I gave up on breakfast.
Oh, I can't do without it, man.
It depends
for
for me. Like sometimes I like a big old bacon and egg and taters and biscuit breakfast.
Does sound good.
Yeah, so Wednesday is our local club day. Apple River Amateur Radio Association, W9WAR. And one of the guys brings in, like donuts and snacks and cinnamon rolls and stuff. And I'm like, I can't resist. So that's when I'll have something to eat for breakfast. But usually I just skip it.
For me, it's kind of lunch right now.
Well, yeah, you get up at like 3 a.m., don't you?
I mean, you guys were texting me at 8 o'clock last night, and I wasn't responding. So I think I didn't make HRCC last night, so I was in bed before 7. So yeah, I get up at like 4, 3.
Wow.
So HRCC last night was shortwave listening, right?
Yeah.
So I can do that with my 7300, right?
You sure can.
Okay, that's what I thought. I mean, I've tuned into 5085 a couple of times, which is kind of like neither AM nor shortwave because it's in Tennessee or something, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I've got a couple of shortwave radios, and it's fun to play around with. It's pretty cool. Like
I think,
when you buy one, you want to get one that has SSB though. Like not all of them have SSB.
Yeah, that Grundig that I posted doesn't by standard have single sideband. And the thing about it is I could definitely do the mod. I just don't know if I want to tear it apart. I'd rather just buy one that has SSB and I know it to be pretty reliable in case I'm going to need it,
Texan just released a really nice shortwave radio. It's like the Texan 990 or something like that. It starts with a 9. I've got the 880, which was really, really nice. And I actually lost it. So, and I thought I take it camping and stuff. And when I go camping, it's usually the last thing that I pack when I'm leaving the campsite because I have music and stuff like that playing on it. And what happened was I got home, I couldn't find it anywhere, and I went a couple months, and I ended up buying another one, and then I found the one that I lost. So now I got 2 of them.
That works.
Yeah, they're like 150 a piece, so I was a little bent out of shape that I bought a second one just to find the other one.
Yeah, I was actually just trying to find out which one. I know you said you have the 880.
Yeah, I really like it. It's like when you buy one, you want to make sure that it like for me, I wanted it to run on 18650 battery. I wanted it to have a keypad on it because not all of them have a keypad. So I want to be able to type a frequency in that I want. And then the other thing is that you want to make sure that it has single sideband, and then it has the ability to adjust the space, like your bandpass filter.
Sure.
So
Now,
880 does all that.
do you find it a flaw or any kind of inconvenience to only have a antenna that's hooked up to it all the time, not having like a port to plug in an external?
Well, the 880 actually does have an antenna port that you can plug another antenna in.
Maybe I missed it. Let me see here.
So I know you can receive on just about any antenna, but what's a good antenna for that?
I just use the antenna that comes with it, and it also comes with this like clip that you can clip to the antenna and hook a long wire to. So I'll just hook. I've never used anything but the antenna on it with that clip wire. We got some hellos to do.
Yeah, Steve
yeah.
KO4AFL says, good morning. Steve's going to be an upcoming guest on Ham Nuggets, and we're going to talk about the GLAARG. Did I put enough A's in there, Steve? And how they're using exam tools and hamstudy.org to do remote testing, and just like the ridiculous amount of people that have gone through that system and gotten their tests. It's amazing how many people have done it.
It is. It's really cool that they did that.
And then we've got PC4AD Anton. We've got Beer Snack Dan, KD2FMW, Mike. We're going across the pond. Andy Callie, of course, was here first, as always.
Hey, Andy.
How did
Tom
he do
Butner.
that?
I like Tom Butner. He's a new ham. I don't know if you guys have seen his channel, but he makes like short 1 or 2 minute skits of ham radio stuff.
I have to check it out. I don't know if I have or not.
Yeah, he's just getting in the hobby, and so like he's documenting, like for example, his first. I think he had one for his first FT8 contact and stuff like that. But he really gets into it, and that's what's cool, right?
Yeah, it's
might be a
awesome.
1 minute skit, but he's into it for that 1 minute. Like, yes, I made contact with. I can't remember where it was, but wherever it was, So hey, Tom, there's a couple new people too. I don't know. I recognize PC4AD. Hey.
PC4AD is in the Discord with us. He's been talking to us this morning about how young he is, what a young pup he is.
Yeah.
Compared to us OMs.
T.O., I'm going to put him on the spot right now. He won't answer my question, even in private message. How old did he think I was? Because yesterday he said he thought I was a lot older than 38.
I thought you were older than 38. Yeah, I'm not a good judge of male age. I don't really, stare at males as much as I stare at females.
I got you.
Yeah, I would have thought you were a little older than 38, but I don't know.
I would have thought you were at least breaking 40.
Yeah,
great.
I would have said 41 or 42.
I'll tell you what happened was, wait, what is this one? Oh, Ape. I don't know how that showed up as spam. What happened was I was in really good shape and I was healthy until the time I got hurt. And then when I got hurt, dude, your body just, once it takes a toll, it's like, there's no stopping it. And I'm like, oh, whatever. I'll embrace it.
Yeah. Well, once you get to be 40, everything goes to, it just stops working right. And then like when I turned 45, I was at work and somebody came up to me. We play a lot of jokes with people at work. And they handed me a chart and they're like, hey, check this out. And I was looking at it and I couldn't read it. And I thought that they had printed out one like a joke thing that, to give to somebody that they can't read. Yeah. And I'm like, come on, man, get out of here with this stuff. And he's like, what? And I was like, this is obviously a joke. And then somebody handed me a pair of readers. I put them on and it was crystal clear. And now I've got readers all over the house.
That's exactly what happened to me in this last year. All of a sudden, I'm like, that's a little blurry or whatever. At full out, there's days where I'm like, I can't see 2 feet in front of me, and I got to get those glasses on. And
what's really bad for me is it's not the eyesight. I mean, I still wear the cheaters too, but when I need to, it's I'm going to go do something, and then my body's like, no, you're not.
Oh, right.
There's many times where somebody will call and be like, hey, you want to go out tonight? And I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's do this. And then you're like, oh, my back.
And then like 2 hours beforehand, I'm like, I thought I was going to make it, man, but the day just got progressively worse. And it's like, oh, gosh, but, your body does definitely have different plans for sure.
Well, when I moved in this house, I got a kegerator and it's down in the basement. Yeah. And I could go get a half keg at the liquor store, bring it home, get it out of the car, carry it in the house, carry it down the flight of stairs, and put it in the kegerator by myself. I'm not sure I could get one out of the car now without having to change my pants. You know what I mean? Like like I just don't. I'm not nearly as strong. I used to lift weights a lot. I'm not nearly as strong as I used to be.
I think that's kind of the way it goes. Speaking of kegerators, though, I know we got a lot of Raspberry Pi fans in here. There was a project years back, and I think I was telling you guys about it offline, but it's called the Kegbot. And so I started building this Kegbot. Man, it was so cool. If you guys ever have the opportunity to use a Raspberry Pi and build a Kegbot, it's basically a monitor for your kegerators, which reports the stats to the Raspberry Pi and then off to the internet if you want. But it was really cool.
The guy at work has one, and it tells him how full it is.
It's a calculation, and it's not a completely accurate calculation, but it is kind of close. And I really liked it because I did an RFID module, so people had to scan their RFID card, which would unlock like a solenoid or whatever to allow you to drain the beer. So it also kept the calculations of who was pouring what and how much. I'd be like, yo, man, you owe me a little bit of money. You drank half my keg.
Nice.
Well, when I first moved into this house with the garage, I had 2 couches in the garage, a coffee table, television set, kegerator. It was real nice. And we would all hang out in the garage after work. But it got to the point where, I was getting home at like 5:30, 6 o'clock, and the fellers were already like 4 or 5 of them would be in my garage drinking beer. And I'm like, I know y'all didn't put enough in the tip bucket because I'm running out of beer every 3 or 4 days, and I got to go get another kegerator. So that's how it ended up in the basement because they all knew my garage code, and they were always in there drinking beer. So
What are friends for if they can't drink your beer?
So I had to put a stop to it.
Now that you mention it, if people stopped coming around after I stopped drinking, I think you've pretty much solved that problem, and now I know why.
Yeah.
Where's your beer? Oh, all right, man. We'll see you later.
We had like half the guys in my neighborhood either work really early jobs or they work from home. So they would, whenever I would get home from work, they're all standing around drinking.
Yeah, I'd have a couple cold ones. When I was in the military, we would get off, I think, at 7 a.m. And the only thing or place you could buy beer at 7 a.m. was the golf course on base. Couldn't even buy it at the little shopping complex. You had to wait till 8 or 9 for that. 7 a.m., man, we wanted to go drink, especially after working 12 hours or whatever. And we would go to the golf course and just get loaded. It was pretty fun, I got to tell you, man, it was kind of cool, though. You'd be on the golf course and you'd have a pretty awesome view of the foot of the Alps. And just drinking as the sun rose and hit those Alps, it was kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
Got some more people showing up in the chat. Lindsay Hicks, welcome. And Tom Butner got me up on Twitter this morning, so I followed him back. If you're not following me on Twitter, I'm Kilo Mike number 9 Golf with all the words spelled out, because when I was temporarily offline on Twitter about 20 years ago, I gave it up, and now it's gone, and somebody else took it because it was popular.
Yeah. Also, you Twitter out the playlist for the Monday night and Thursday night. That's really the only thing of value that you have on there, though, right?
Exactly. That's the only value I provide to the world is the playlist.
No, that's super handy for just communicating that, because everybody's like, "Where's the playlist at?" Go to Twitter.
It's on APRS. I should do that.
That's
APRS.
funny.
Yeah, APRS YouTube playlist. That would be awesome.
You could. I just got I'm sorry, I was kind of multitasking here, or trying to multitask. You guys know me. And I got a comment from yesterday's live stream, which I thought you guys might find interesting. It just came in. It was commented on there. It says, "Hey, I just listened to your live show. New to this, 2 months of observing all the info. This was our best hour of them all. Learned a little bit about what I'm curious about, and I enjoyed the conversation. Thanks." So yeah, that was from somebody called Merle News, and I'll go ahead and I'm going to point them over to this channel right now. Maybe they'll see it and they'll come over here.
Excellent.
But it's really cool that we're getting a lot of positive feedback like that too.
I barely remember what we did yesterday.
That's okay. I don't remember it either. So K6ARK showed up. He says, "Good morning, gents. Adam, what mountain are you on this morning?" And Adam's video from last Thursday, he was doing his SoCal Under Snow Winter Field Day After Action Report, and the three of us made a guest appearance in that. That was pretty cool.
Did we?
Yeah, we did. I was all excited. I was like starstruck. I'm like, I made it big when I'm on K6ARK's, video.
He's up on a mountaintop having his coffee in the morning, freezing his butt off. Not as much as I'm freezing my butt off, but and he's like watching us on the stream. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Well, it's funny, like the first time you start meeting other YouTubers that you've been watching for a long time. I was the one that got me was when I was on a stream with Dave Kassler, and I couldn't talk. I was like, because I just watched so many of his videos for years. I was all fanboying out. But it's neat when that happens.
It is. It's really cool. I met Dave Kassler at Hamvention, and I was the same way. I was like, I don't know what to say. My buddy was with me. He was like, "Oh, you're Dave Kassler. I watch your videos all the time. Hey," and I'm like, I couldn't even say that.
Yeah, well, there's another guy's K6A K6ARG or I can't remember his call sign, but I ran into him at Hamcation. I think it was in 2019, and it's just like, oh my gosh, just funny.
Who's the guy from Wisconsin? KB9V.
KB9 VBR, Michael.
Yeah, I met him at one of the Hamfests down here, actually, too. He does a lot of the Hamfest because I think he gets a booth every now and then. So
yeah, he makes antennas.
Antennas, yeah. And I think it is fun to meet the people for sure. It's just actually that's something. Next time I go to Hamvention, I'll be curious if anybody. I think I'm 30,000 people at Hamvention, and I'm at about 5,000 subs. So maybe one or two people will stop over and say hi or whatever.
They might have saw your FT70D video.
Yeah, right. Maybe maybe I shouldn't even be thinking about this because it's still probably a year and a half away. Come on, man.
Yeah, that I still stand by it. I think that FT70 video you did is awesome.
I appreciate that. I got to get back to figuring out what I did that was so right about that video and try to replicate it. And,
well, you just covered everything about that radio, and you did it clear, succinct, and you did it in a very sequential process. I was like, when I was watching it, I'm like, man, how did he do? I was a little mad. I was like, I should have done that.
I do think that video took me at least 2 or 3 days to make easily, and it probably took me way more than that. But another thing too is at that time I wasn't. And I shouldn't be still, but I wasn't really concerned about how long is this video going to be, right. And kind of way I'm compensating that now is I'm trying to make, a Monday night or Thursday night video, but all the meanwhile in the background, I'm working on a longer educational video as well. Yeah. And we'll see how that goes. But I think you're right. I just hit everything I thought I could hit. And you're right, though. Surprisingly, that video typically doesn't get too many negative comments. If there's a negative comment, it's about the battery.
Yeah, well, everybody wants to hate on the battery, which I get. Like, I totally understand that. And I do think the battery's an issue with that radio, but you can't say FT70 without somebody being like, that damn battery, son. Like, what if it was grid down? If it grid down, I need a battery I can count on.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Well, could have another battery. I don't.
I made this little plug to go on the side with power pole connectors to help charge it. So I don't know. I love that radio. I think it's pretty nice.
I'm trying to work with a guy locally here to design a PCB board with me, and then I build the 3D case, and basically we could make some rapid chargers for the FT70D that would be cheaper. My thought would I would sell them in kits, and so you buy an FT70D charger kit, you assemble it. And maybe you're still saving $20 on a $30 charger or $15 on a $30 charger. All the meanwhile, you're learning something kind of fun, right?
Chuck, yeah, that's the thing is that the learning stuff. Take it away, Chuck.
I'm just still getting set up here.
So while we're waiting for Chuck to get set up, I'm talking to Frank also, and Frank wants to get in on the Sherry build, and he wants to know what model to get.
One moment. Sorry, I had ice in my mouth. So if you want to build the Sherry, you could do it one of two ways. You could use it using a Pi 4, and in that case, if you use a Pi 4, you could use the Sherry Pi hat. Typically, that's kind of a little bit better. you don't want to use the Pi Hat, then you could use a Pi 3 with the standard Sherry. And I could link them here in just a moment if you'd like.
Okay, and then there's the UHF and the VHF. Which one's the one you sent me?
Man, that was so long ago. I don't remember.
Hold on, let me go grab it.
I'm pretty sure I sent you the UHF. And that comes down to preference. What are you going to want to use your Sherry node for? Are you going to want to use it on UHF or VHF? Typically, I think all my Sherry devices are UHF. But it just comes down to what you got. I will say that if I had the opportunity now, I'd buy a VHF one, but that's because I have some VHF radios laying around. Give me just a moment here.
They're definitely cool. They're definitely cool. I don't understand All-Star that much, though.
I don't understand it at all. This is my first introduction. So I got my my ham radio dude sticker.
Oh yeah, those stickers come up everywhere.
And then this says Shari Pi Hat U. And so that would be UHF. Pull that thing out there. I don't know if that's going to focus or not. Anyway, that's it. Shari Pi Hat U. And there's a couple of components to solder onto it, including the radio transmitter itself, which is kind of interesting. It's a sort of a surface mount type thing.
Yeah. It's a SA818 chip from Nice RF. And the cool thing about that chip is that chip wouldn't have worked with the whole All-Star Sherry thing that's going on here. But N8AR, he actually reached out, from my understanding, to Nice RF and had those custom modified and custom made, so they'll actually work with the whole All-Star thing. Yep, and you got yourself a little baby antenna there.
That antenna.
Yeah. I called my buddy yesterday who was in the stream, Andy, and I was like, hey, how do I say antenna? And he tried to say it to me. I'm like, I don't hear any difference. And he's like, let me say it really slowly. He says, you say antenna or whatever. Yeah. And he's like, it needs to be I can't even do it, man. But I'm like, oh, okay, I still don't understand things.
So
I've got some live. Oh, go ahead to you.
It sounds like what he's saying is you say antenna instead of antenna.
Antenna.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
And some people put that in there, like antenna. But I was gonna say I got some live late breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Chuck has put together 4 playlists.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
What do we got,
yesterday. Chuck? I just did one on antenna builds, soda poda. What else? Oh, just builds for ham radio, stuff like that. Ape said I got to get him in there, so I did.
Oh yeah. And so what'll happen is if I'm watching one of your videos that's in that playlist over on the side where all the other videos are, you'll have a featured video of your own. And next thing we got to get you to do is end cards on your videos.
I do cards.
And Don wants me to put an amp on that Shari. That would be funny.
An amp.
What
are you guys talking about now? Sharis? What's a Shari?
So an All-Star Sherry, or Shari, or however y'all want to say it. But
I thought it was Shardy.
Shardy.
Nice.
The All-Star sharding. It's basically a little device that is attached to a Raspberry Pi, and using the joys of PBX systems, essentially, or asterisks kind of thing, you're able to communicate on your radio to the node through the Pi through over a network. So you're basically relaying amateur radio over a network. It's kind of fun.
Like over one of these things?
Yeah, is that a clear node or what is that? MMDPM.
Yeah, that's it. It is the last one.
So yeah, that's for digital modes like DMR and Fusion, but this is more analog based. Okay. So you don't get the digital sound with All-Star.
But it's almost the exact same thing, except for it doesn't modulate and demodulate digitally, right?
Yeah, I think so. For
just
the
like
most
regular
part.
FM. Just regular FM.
Yeah, it's gonna absolutely. It's gonna put that all over through the airwaves and then to the Pi. But it is FM, absolutely. One of the things that is nice about it for me, at least, is back in a long time ago, I worked at an internet company, and we were doing a lot of asterisk stuff, a lot of PBX or voice over IP systems. And so I'm a little more confident or comfortable with the back end of things as opposed to somebody who would just start off. But to be honest with you, the instructions are so easy that you shouldn't have a problem.
Well, it looks like it's the way to go because I was looking at an all-star node build, and it looked like a giant pain in the butt. Like you had to have a radio connected to a Raspberry Pi, and then you had to install a certain Raspberry Pi image, and then get that on your network, and then you had to talk from radio to radio. You couldn't talk straight to your Shardy. So I really like that design, but again, I'd obviously have to learn a little bit about it.
So I should be able to get on Echolink with this thing too, right?
You can. Echolink is one of the things that you could do with it. Back to what Ape said, though, if you have the node right here, and you have a guy right here and a guy right here locally, let's say in your house, and you're talking on it, it's not going to go both of them. Like if you're having a conversation, no, it will go through it unless you're both talking at the same time. Then I think there might be a problem with that. But I'd have to look into that. I don't really have people over to know if that's the case. But yeah, it goes over the network. It works fine. You know what really is nice about it too is you got that shorty antenna, and what is it, like 500 milliwatts at the max, I think.
Yeah, so it's not getting out of your house.
It gets out of my house. It's a 100 to 400 milliwatts. It goes across the street, so that's nice.
I was kind of unexaggerating.
Yeah, I did hook mine to my outside antenna one time and see how far I could hit it. You can go a little
about a couple miles or what? Well,
no, not that far, but I picked it up a couple blocks away at least.
Oh, cool.
I don't leave it that way,
nice.
but I don't even use it that much. It was more of a, hey, that's a cool looking project, you know.
And that's the joy of it. Even if you do it and you find out maybe it's not the best thing for you, you did it, you got some knowledge, and do have it. You got some knowledge. You got to learn, son.
What was cool is you're listening on HT and you're talking to one guy in the UK and one guy in Australia. It's like, wow, that's really weird. But, yeah. So I've done it a few times, but I don't get on there very often.
Dan, KD2 FMW, thanks a lot for coming in, and we'll see you soon. You take care, bud.
I think he's got to shovel snow when he was posting pictures of his backyard.
Yeah, I know. Dan's weather app is awesome. Did you see that in the Discord this morning?
I did.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure that. Like, I keep getting these Discord dings, and trying to figure out which part of the Discord they're coming from,
It might be really weird.
Huh?
I'll get the notifications for some of the other Discords that I'm in or for the private messages, and then it'll light up a little circle with how many messages there are. But for the Toads Discord, I messed up the settings somewhere, or maybe it's because I'm the server admin. I will get the ding that there's a new message, but it won't tell me that it's in that one. So,
right. That's how mine are kind of coming up. It's such a short little, like I get it on my phone is where I see it most. And it doesn't have a ton of information. I'm lucky to figure out who it is sometimes.
Well, see, that's the thing is I was playing with it because I was getting dinged all the time, like in the middle of the night while I'm trying to sleep.
Right, exactly.
And so I was messing with the settings, and now what happens is I'll look at my phone, and it'll have like a number, like a red little circle with like 8. So it looks like I'm missing 8 new messages, but I can't find where they are. And that's one thing is I hate notifications on my phone. So when I see them, I want to click on it and see what it is. And I can't get rid of like mine always says 6 on there. I cannot get rid of it.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it's not just me that has problems with that then, because I'm fairly new to what TO knows when I got into the Discord stuff. I'd been in a couple times on the HRC one, and it's like just when they're talking, trying to find the mic part I was having problems with, But I would do it on my phone with no problem. So I think it was something to do with my computer.
Well, it drives me insane. That's all I can say about it.
Hey, where's Sean?
Oh, I'm here. I'm right here.
Oh, you're there. You're gone. There you are. You're gone. I'm looking at 2 different screens here.
He's digging in his parts box.
I am.
Always bringing out parts, huh?
Yeah.
Parts is
I was looking to see. I think I do have an amp for that Sherry. But where it's at is going to be a whole nother story.
Marty says it's a little early, guys, don't you think? And yeah, well, we've got a show coming up right after this. Red Summit RF is doing some more portable discussion stuff on his channel. The comment is linked at the top of the YouTube comments stack. If you want to head over there when we're done, we'll let you guys know when that time is. Don't go now.
Yeah, we gotta cut this one short so we don't step on his toes, right?
Which is good because my wife's getting mad at me. Let's see. He's talking to W7JET and KC7MSU, and it's a soda rookie roundtable is what he's calling it.
Oh, I should watch that one. Because I'm still kind of a rookie at the soda stuff.
Hey, Chuck, you want to get together soon and do a soda together?
Sure. Where you want to do it?
Out by you.
Oh,
There are no mountains where he's at.
yeah. I'm always
Yeah,
game.
right.
I don't have any. All my people that I know that would do stuff like that are you guys, and nobody lives around here. I mean, what Josh and Adam are the two closest, and that's L.A. and San Diego, which is 6 and 11 hours.
San Francisco have a big airport, or is Sacramento the better one to go to?
You know, Sac's kind of small. It's an easy airport.
Yeah.
Oakland actually is the closest to me.
Dude, tickets are $100 round trip.
Oh, nothing. Do it.
That's
Yeah, that's awesome.
I've got an awesome place to.
Oh.
You guys saw where I did the Moxon 20 meter and my 2 meter antenna, right? Up
Yep.
on the snow. I bet there's a ton of snow there right now, and we could probably get in. We might have to winch a little bit. Who knows?
Tickets are actually $80 round trip.
Nice.
That's cheap.
You fly in Spirit Airlines where they throw you
Yeah,
out with
you
the
know.
baggage?
I love Spirit. I love being treated like garbage.
I know.
I've never even heard of Spirit.
There was some
Keep it
airline.
that way.
There was some airline that was they were flying people to Iceland, was my understanding, and it was like a rave on the plane or something like that.
Awesome.
They got shut down after a short period of time, but it was coming out like the big cities like Miami and New York and stuff like that. And
not Miami.
the tickets were super duper cheap, but it was like you couldn't even get water on the plane. Like they just let you on the plane, and then you get the party all the way to. They were having there was some kind of big festival that was going on in Iceland.
So what's really funny about Spirit Airlines, like there's Spirit, there's Southwest, there's a whole bunch of different airlines that are in that kind of discount space. But Spirit Airlines, I just feel bad after I get off the plane. I feel like they just tried to take every dollar they possibly could out of my pocket. And Southwest is like, here, have a free carry-on and have a little 12-ounce Coke can, half of one on us, you know. And it's they're still pretty discount airlines, both of them. But Southwest, you walk away feeling like I was a valued customer and they really enjoyed having me there. And Spirit, it's like they're kicking you off the plane the minute it hits the runway.
Yeah, I like Southwest.
I was gonna say I had the opposite experience with Spirit a few times. When I was in the military, they would see like, you know, I'd have to check in like a firearm, you know, and as soon as you go to check in a firearm, they see it's a DOD or you're part of the military, and they're just like, here you go, all your bags are free. Jump on the plane. We're gonna find you a big, nice open spot, and it was always nice. But then I will say, as soon as I left the military and I would fly Spirit, they're like, get in the back, sit down, shut up. Great. Yep. All right, cool.
Yeah, so if you're trying to carry a firearm with you through an airport, to be very pedantic about the language, you're not allowed to take it on the plane, but you can take it with you in your checked luggage and do all of the proper requirements to do so. You are treated like royalty by the airport, and you are somebody special, and they won't mess with your luggage. TSA is not allowed to open your luggage without you being the one to unlock the lock. You don't have to do the TSA locks. You don't have to do anything. And it's just like the old days. You could travel and people wouldn't try to molest you all day long.
Very important note about that too, though, is make sure you do have locks for your case, whatever your case is, and make sure there's enough locks so they can't pry it open, because if that's the case, they're going to tell you you can't bring that or you can't check that lock in.
Yeah, you definitely want to do it early.
It becomes a pain at that point. I've ran into that issue where I'm like, well, what am I going to do? And fortunately, I had somebody with me who was able to watch my my luggage, if you will. And I had to go through the gates, find somebody who was selling a lock, come back through the gates and put it on. I'm like, man, that was my bad. But yeah, you know, I've noticed too, like when I was in Philadelphia and I was actually flying in from somewhere into Philadelphia, our firearms, our cases were under the plane. We actually had the police waiting for us, and they're like, "Come with us." They escorted us the quick way throughout the airport, through the back and everything, so we can get our stuff and get out of there. That was kind of cool. Yeah, you do get treated like royalty.
Yeah. Rosa showed up. Rosa's asking, "How's that FTD X10, dude?"
It's really good. I wiped the dust off of it, and I plan on using it today. No, I do like it. Every day I'm learning more and more features about it. There's a couple little quirks I don't like, but I wouldn't say I don't like them. I'm not used to them. So overall, it's been a good radio, and I really still do like that audio. Just being able to pull out all the signals with that digital noise reduction.
Awesome. So something I wanted to get into, Clark Cohey, who is in the chat right now, came on Monday Night Ham Radio a couple of weeks ago and was asking a question about repairing a radio. And the YouTube chat is fantastic for catching up with your friends and commenting on the video, but it's really hard to have an in-depth conversation. And we actually wound up talking over the course of like 4 or 5 videos. And what Clark had was an old radio, and I don't know 100% of the story. Clark's here, he can fill in some of the missing details, but it sounds like it was his dad's radio that was passed down to him. And so there's some sentimental value in it. He was asking about repairing it. It's going to be like $700 to repair the radio. But the way the conversation started, it was like, I have this radio that I need to repair, and it's going to be $700. And your first impression with just that little bit of information is don't, or do it yourself.
Just get a new radio.
That's exactly what I thought too. I caught in on that at the end there. Sorry. Go ahead.
He drops in and he's like, "Oh, it's my dad's radio." I'm like, "Oh no, spend all the money in the world to keep that thing up and running." Yeah, like it totally changes the perspective. So he's got it off at the shop now, and he's got somebody that's doing it for a flat fee instead of by the hour, by the part. So he should be doing pretty good. Yeah.
I'd be interested in this. Go ahead, Chuck.
I was going to say I had a buddy that I had some work. I told you guys I had one of my old Cobras done, and he did that kind of stuff. And I asked him if he does stuff still, and he said he did, but then Clark didn't want to really ship it. So that guy's in Iowa, so that was a no-go.
I mean, if it was me and it was just a generic radio off the shelf, I'd tear into that thing. That 706 up there, when I got it, it was really noisy, and I tore it up and looked at it, and I looked at it really hard, and I looked at it some more, and then I put it back together, and it worked. And I really didn't do anything. Maybe I just jiggled a connection around or something inside. But
maybe it's like a loose solder joint or a cold solder joint or something like that.
Yeah, probably. It works pretty well overall, so I'm not complaining, but it was good. So I mentioned earlier that one of the guys at the club on Wednesday brings in a bunch of snacks, and there he is. That's the snack bringer. Bill's a good guy.
Yeah.
Goes by Yo Slick.
Okay.
When you said that you no longer had a noise issue or it works, I just figured you no longer had a noise issue because you didn't get it working again.
Yeah, it's completely definite. No, actually, I did the first FT8 off competition on that rig, and I put out the video on how to FT8 with it. I really liked that video because I had the meter out, and I was able to tweak the knobs and tweak the settings and watch the meters move where they needed to move in order to, like, there it is. That's where it needs to be. So that was fantastic. I was really happy with that video.
Speaking of videos, we talked about my Yaesu video earlier, which I appreciate the compliment, by the way. And I'm wondering, Ape, how's your video going this morning? Your Amazon video.
Last time I checked, it was at 15,500. So.
Wow. Man, let's get him to 20K.
I'm sure it'll hit 20 today. I just can't. I still am amazed. I can't believe it.
Yeah. Have you ever had a 50K video?
Yeah, I've got. I'm not talking mess, but I've got videos with like 250,000 views. But I've never had one accelerate at the rate that this one is taken off. So right now it's at 15.7, and it's weird because like I was sitting there saying, I can't get my wife and kids to listen to me, but I post this video about Amazon and 15,000 people listen to it in 2 days. It's just nuts the way that some of that works sometimes.
Yeah. Family gets tired of it sometimes, huh?
Well, like my daughters are in their teens, and what's funny is that like I'll come home or go into the living room and they'll have my videos up on the big screen TV with their friends and stuff, and they're like, "All right, folks, tonight we're going to talk about," they're sitting there mocking me, and I'm like, what are you people doing?"
Awesome.
I can't see that. Why would they mock you, man?
That's what I said. I was like, "This is cool." I was like, "Y'all should be paying attention and maybe do some learning, figure something out on yourself." But
My favorite thing is when my daughters are like, "Hey, how do I do that Parks on the Air log thing?" I'm like, "Go watch my video."
Yeah, well, like my daughter's like, "Smoking ape here," and they just think it's funny. Like, knock it off.
I saw Callum's video with his son the other day building that workbench, and halfway through you can see that his son's got the shaved sides also, and I'm like, yeah, Callum can't say anything about that haircut.
Well, that's funny because like my hair is like super long now because I have a COVID mullet going. I normally have it shaved pretty short, and my my daughter's boyfriend's got long hair, and I'm always like, that boy needs to cut that hair. He's walking around looking like a smacked ass. If he don't cut it, I'm going to do it for him. That kind of stuff. And now my daughter's like, well, Dad, you've got long hair.
I shaved or I cut both of my hairs the other day.
Nice.
It didn't take very long.
Ape, it's kind of like a do as I say, not as I do,
Right. I'm like, well, I'm paying the bills around here, so I'm allowed to do whatever I want. So, I don't know. It's just one of those things.
I like the old race. I had a deal going with a guy. You guys remember the Kenwood, the hybrids? Where they were they were tubes with transistor receivers or something like that. I forget the 590s or something like that. No.
Yeah, Joe Slick has one of those. Hey Bill, what's that radio you have that has the hybrid transistor and tube setup?
Well, anyhow, I set up a deal with this guy, and I said, I go, when's a good time to come pick the radio up? And he goes, well, why don't we do it Sunday? Because I'm going to be like in Fremont, which is like an hour closer for you. So I go, sure. So I call him up that morning, and he goes, oh, I didn't know you won the radio. I sold it yesterday. I'm like, oh man, I don't get mad, but I was a little not too happy that day.
So I want to clear something up real quick. I'm sorry, Tio. Okay. Dude and I have the exact same boom, the same mic. Everything is exactly the same. But it's just that mine is closer. It's close to the camera. It just makes it look like that. But everybody's constantly giving me grief about it.
That's awesome.
I move mine around just for this stuff because otherwise it's like quite a ways away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Bill brought that radio. He says it's the Kenwood 820, and it's the hybrid one with the tubes and the transistors in it. And I think it's an awesome radio, and I know exactly how new hams feel because I saw that, and I'm like, that's an awesome radio, and I don't want to touch it because I'm afraid I'm going to break it. And
yeah, it's a series actually. There's like at least four different models, and they step up on each model, And then my buddy that I learned a lot of stuff from, he goes, well, you don't really want that model because he likes to get like the top of line stuff, And so then I just kind of forgot about it. I got an old 440 TS 440 that I got for a friend. He's a ham, but he didn't want his dad's stuff, so he offered it to me, and I took it, and it's actually a pretty cool radio. It's totally loaded. It's got stuff that I wouldn't use. That looks cool. CW filters, all the different filters, all built into it already, and a tuner. And every once in a while, I just throw that thing on. And the guys I talk to, hey, you sound a little different today, Chuck. What are you on? I go, you gotta figure it out. They know I have got like 4 different radios, and it's not too hard. So
yeah, I'd like to play with it.
Yeah, those are cool radios. The guys that get those, the guys that like to do the wide SSB stuff. Have you guys heard any of that stuff?
Mm-hmm.
That stuff's fine, I guess. I got a buddy, he hates it because he goes, it's just rude. I go, well, if there's nobody on the band, what's it matter,
Right. Yeah, I'm like, who cares? But some people lose their mind over that wide SSB.
Yeah. But there's a guy down in Mammoth, and I know Sean knows where Mammoth is, and the guy's audio is it's like studio quality stuff, and I've talked to him a few times, but my other buddy just like, I hate that stuff. It's just totally rude. He gets really upset about it. I go, but if he's the only guy and you can't see anybody else in the band, who cares,
I gotta say, man, Mammoth, though, I know we talked about it yesterday too. Convict Lake, that whole area is beautiful. But if you're going to go there even in the summer, make sure you got a winter jacket. That's all I can tell you. It'll get cold.
That's our area. Like you go up in the mountains in the summertime, expect you might get a summer shower.
Oh yeah,
almost every day. It's weird because at my house it doesn't do that usually. But in the mountains you do get the summer showers, and they only last 10 or 15 minutes or so, and you don't really. I mean, you could be in a sweatshirt, still not really get that wet.
Adam had his video. K6ARK had his video on Monday about his winter field day, and I asked him, I'm like, do you carry bear spray? And he said no, there's no bears in his area, which is great. When you go to Mammoth, man, you got to watch out for bear too. Yeah, you definitely have to watch out for bear.
Yeah, you guys, one of my videos I did with K6TNT, I met him with Josh and all those guys on Mount Pacifico, and he said he's been confronted 2 or 3 times with bears, and he goes, I come to an abrupt stop, and then he's like, I've got bear spray, don't worry, because I went with him. I go, you're really worried about bears? He goes, oh yeah. He goes, I've seen wolves, I've seen bears. He goes, I don't take any chances.
You won't have a 44. But are they black bears? They're black bears, not grizzlies, right?
Yeah, we basically have black bears in California. We used to go to Lake Shasta all the time, and we had nights where the bears would come in every night, and so we would sit around the campfire. I had my smoker going, and we'd everybody put $1 in, and
in the smoker.
No, everybody put $1 in a pool for when the bears would show up that night, because they showed up every night, and they had these bear-proof dumpsters, right? Well, they weren't bear-proof really, because Mama Bear would walk over, she'd lift the lid up, take the little baby bears, throw them in the dumpster. They sit in there for an hour eating everything, and then she'd open it up to pull them out. So we made a little game out of it, and my buddy comes over. He goes, and he's like a grizzly bear kind of guy. He goes, hey Chuck, I saved your barbecue last night. I go, what? He goes, that bear was big, and then I scared him out of here. You just got to know my buddy. That's exactly how he talks.
That's funny. We me and a bunch of my buddies, we go camping a lot, and we were at this campground. It's somewhat remote, like you have to 4-wheel to get into it and all that. And
perfect.
We're eating. We took all these smokers and grills and stuff, and solar panels, and we got a satellite dish and a tree and a television, and we're out in the woods having a good old time, eating ribs and stuff, and we're just throwing the bones in the woods. And my one buddy's like, "Should we be doing this? Aren't bears around here? And won't they come up here and eat us and stuff?"
Yes.
And I'm like, son, all the noise we're making and all these other people up here hooting and hollering, shooting. I was like, ain't no bear coming up in here. And that night we bagged up a bunch of trash and then drove it down to where the dumpsters were, and there's a giant bear sitting there
everywhere
at the dumpster, waiting to eat. And we're like, maybe we shouldn't throw in those.
They're not scared of people.
No,
and
this one was not at all. It just looked at us like, "What are you going to do?" And
right.
We took the trash back to the campsite.
Yeah, we had a big one come up in camp, which kind of scared me this time, because it was like 2 p.m, and he comes up in camp, and he's like swaying back and forth like he's drunk almost, or sick or something. And he was huge, biggest black bear. Now black bears here are brown, so that was kind of weird. But biggest one I ever seen in the ranger gal goes, oh no, they don't get that big. And the guy goes, yeah. He goes, that's Bruno. He comes down every once in a while, slaps the young bucks on the nose and tells them who's boss. And then he goes back to where he was. Well, they said they lost him one year because they're pretty sure he jumped in a dumpster, and the guys pulled up and took the dumpster away that day. And we've never seen him again. So
he found his way back, huh?
Well, no, they did. They hadn't seen him since that one. That already died.
Oh, wow.
Could be. He was huge. I mean, and I had this half lab, half English Springer, looked like a chocolate lab, fight anything. And I sent him home with my buddy. Because I couldn't take the chance of,
right.
He might be brave enough to attack, but he wasn't going to win. It would have been his first loss probably. really bad loss.
I think that's a pretty good, important kind of thing to remember, though, is if you're going to do radio, know your surroundings and your environment and what you're going to need to pack for. I'm probably not the best person to speak about it, but there are a lot of YouTube channels out there where you watch them do these POTUS and you're like, I do wonder what all they had to make sure they had. And for me, I definitely think that a must-have would be a 44 Magnum for sure. I don't even think it matters where I'm at. I think I'd have a 44 Magnum.
Well, like, you know, even, well, black bear you probably take out with a 44, but like when you see these people with these grizzly attacks and stuff like that, they say they shoot that bear like 4 or 5 times and the bear just keeps coming at them. Those things are like, I saw a thing where the paw was like bigger than a giant pizza.
Yeah,
you know
that's just inertia right there, though. They can't stop.
Oh yeah, there is a video of a guy who was walking out of I think it was the Bill Withers. No, it might have been Glacial, but he was walking out of some forest in Montana, and he got attacked by a bear, and he was just beat up. I think half of his skull was like showing and everything. And it's like, man, that's insane what a grizzly could do.
Well,
and
he recorded it, right? Didn't the guy? Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
But he got attacked twice. Like, didn't the bear get him and then leave and then come back a couple hours later and get him a second time?
I don't recall that. I'll have to watch the video and get back with you.
You know, Adam's in here, and I wonder because I know he's done a couple of his sodas in that Mammoth area, I think, or near there, maybe a little bit more north of that. And I wonder if he actually carries anything for, because I know there's bears in that area. I'm just wondering if he carries anything. Cougars, that's the other thing. Somebody just put cougars up there. Yeah, that was Adam. I'd be more afraid of those probably than anything.
Yeah, the bear in Convict Lake over by Mammoth, the bear are there, and if you leave your food out, or even if it's in your van, they'll break the window of the van to get to the food. I used to go there like quite a bit in the summer times, you know. And yeah, we would see it quite typically. All of a sudden, you go back and somebody's van window's busted out. The bear got the food, but they didn't mess with anything else, you know.
I love the videos where the bear gets in the car, or like they'll show the car where the bear got in and just shredded the inside of the car looking for food.
Well, my buddy's he had one of those old Broncos, like the bigger Broncos, and the bear, his wife, we told her don't leave anything in sight, right? Because that's what they don't really use their in those places. They don't really use their nose or anything they're looking. And so she left bread and all this stuff on the seat, and the thing is halfway through the window, crawling in, and my buddy scared it off. It was, you know, he's almost as big as the bear. So, and but later on, we looked at the side of his thing, and that bear, by trying to crawl in there, dented the side of his truck and all kinds of stuff. But if you leave an ice chest, they know what ice chests are. They come to an ice chest, they go like that, and they just open it up like it's nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, we went camping, and we were in a tent, and it was my wife and kids, and at night we were packing all the food up, so just in case any animals, like I was thinking like raccoons and stuff would come and mess with it. And I left this giant water jug on the picnic table, and my wife's like, shouldn't you put that water jug away? And I'm like, there's a creek right there. I was like, nobody's going to come up here and drink this water. Don't worry about it. And then that night at like 4 a.m, she's like, get up. And I'm like, what? And she's like, the bear's got the water. I can hear him glugging. I can hear it.
Let him have it.
Yeah, I was like, there ain't no bear out there. There ain't no glugging. And there wasn't. So I don't know what she was hearing or whatever. But
she's probably dreaming because she thought of it, you know?
Yeah. Well, a buddy of mine, he was sleeping, and there was all this ruckus at the campsite. And he's like, what is that noise? And he wakes up, and he's like, oh, my gosh, it's got to be a bear. And he slowly starts to unzip his tent to see what's going on. And a snout comes right through the tent.
Oh, wow.
And a cold snout hit him right on the forehead. And he said he soiled his pants real bad, and just instantly. And he jumps back, and it was a lab. The lab came poking its head in, and it was from the campsite over where this lab.
Have you ever seen a puppy lab, like a little chocolate lab? They look just like a little bear.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I probably soiled my pants too.
Yeah, that same trip, we were up there, and the first morning, you see all these warnings for bears. And I camped there as a kid for years, and we'd seen a few bears here and there. So I wake up, I hear somebody in the camp behind me. My back door of my camper was looking at their camp, and I hear somebody going through an ice chest. So I look back there, and it's just starting to get light. It's like dawn, and I look over there and there's like a person hunched over this ice chest, and they're grabbing things and throwing it and grabbing things and throwing it. Well, come to find out, it was a bear, and he was just going through picking what he wanted, And it at first I just thought it was a person, but they're super smart on that kind of stuff. I've had them steal all my food the first day in the middle of the afternoon. We're out on the lake. We went to take your tent out to a campsite on the lake, and the first day I come up and I start chewing my wife out, which I regretted later because yeah, you know how that goes, Huntio. So, and I go, you left and I got to ice chest, and I looked at it, I'm like, oh, she didn't do that because it's knocked over. We had a gallon of milk. I had 2 young kids. I mean, or actually, I only had 1 young kid at the time. The other one was soon after that. And the milk was strewn up the hill. We had all this meat we had for our whole trip, and I was young, man. I was like, just married a few years, and so we had to go out back and buy all the food over again. And we stayed in that spot, but the whole time I was leery. But we moved our tent. Of course, he was full by that time. We moved our tent down into the sun, which was not as good because Lake Shasta gets about it can be 120 up there in the afternoons. Beautiful lake. If you guys ever come to California and want to go to a great lake, that's probably the best lake in the state.
All right,
camp is fun.
We got 4 minutes left until curtain time, gentlemen. Coming up after us is Red Summit RF, and he's going to be talking about soda for new rookies.
Yeah, I have to watch that because, like I said, and you better watch it too, Sean, if you're coming out and we're going to do soda. You want to do soda or Poda?
Yes.
Well, I probably can't do too much soda unless it's a relatively easy hike. I can't scale mountains, but let's do Oda, some sort of Oda.
Well,
in the air.
That one I did was it's in the forest, so national forest. So it was a Poda, but it was also a soda site.
Perfect.
So, and that one, you can do both at the same time.
I'd be down to come out and do some radio, make some collab videos, and maybe make it a little bit fun.
A buddy of mine just bought a 705, and he's never ever, when I've talked to him about doing parks on the air or anything like that, he's never been interested. It seemed like he goes, "Yeah, I've got this, and I'm gonna come over and get my DX Commander, and you can finish tuning the other 2 bands up, and we'll take that out on Poda." I'm like, "Where'd this come from?" I go, I'm not taking a 705 I'm doing Poda. I'm taking 100 watts.
Looks like we got about 2 minutes here until Red comes on. So I'm gonna say 73 to y'all. Thank you for having me on the show, T.O. And Ape, have a good one. Chuck, have a good one.
You too.
Chat, have a good one.
Yeah, thanks everybody in the chat.
All right, thanks, folks. Head over to Red Summit RF and give him a watch and a follow and a subscribe and a thumbs up and all that fantastic stuff that you just did here for us. And we will see you on the next one, which I guess live for us is going to be Monday night with 86DM Dennis.
Was it in the thing up here?
It's pinned at the top comment.
There you go. Got it.
All right.
Did I leave? I think I left.
No, we're still live. Abe, go ahead and tell us about your channel real quick, and then we'll go around the rest of the way.
Not much to tell. We do ham radio and ham radio accessories.
Awesome. Chuck?
Just Oda soda, all that kind of stuff. Builds, antennas mostly, and battery boxes, stuff like that. So I'm going to do a solar setup here. I've got a solar setup I haven't really used a whole lot, and I want to go through it and see if it has any noise through the charge controller. So that should be coming up pretty soon.
Excellent. Dude, you're last, and then we're out.
I'm Ham Radio Dude. Subscribe and watch some videos to find out what I'm about. Thanks a lot for having me on the show.
All of the channels are in the description down below. I'll add Chuck as I head out the door. We'll see you later. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being awesome.
Later, guys.